Good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to the studio this afternoon. We're just going to be doing some simple chainmail this afternoon. Just making up excuse me. Just making up a simple 2-in-2 chain. For which I don't have enough rings, but we'll just make up what we can. Already trying to escape. Making this in a pink colour. I should get a small plastic spoon to do this with. So I'm just going to get them all out of the case. A little bit of fiddly things are these, but we will get there. You even need patience to get them out of the box that I've got them in. Bit ironic, really. There we go. So I'm going to be opening some and closing some. So we're going to spend quite a bit of time doing that. Which will then mean that we can weave them a lot quicker. When we do so, now then, the interesting thing here is going to be to get a good camera angle for you guys, so you can sort of see what I'm doing. Unfortunately it'll be against my shirt, but can't really tip it up much more, otherwise you won't be able to see what's going on. Let me have a look at focusing this. Actually, I'll turn the autofocus off because it'll have problems. It'll want to focus on me and not where I'm working. So I've got to remember to keep the rings out of the way of where I'm going to work with the chain, because yesterday I forgot that, and of course I spent a lot of time brushing the rings out of the way as I was working on the chain yesterday. So this is going to be like it was yesterday, a simple 2-in-2 chain. Only this time today we're using aluminium rings, anodized aluminium. Whereas yesterday, most of what the first part of the stream when I was making a 2-in-2 chain, it was done using gold-plated rings. Springtrap the bunny. Yeah, you've beat everybody again to the stream. Good afternoon. Welcome to the studio. I'm just going to be spending quite a bit of time, I'm afraid, at the moment, just opening and closing rings. ready for when I do the weaving. But doing this at the start means that the weaving itself takes less time than it would do otherwise. So it's sort of a trade-off, really. I could do this as I was going along, but then it doesn't go as fast. Excuse me. I'm still recovering from a cold, so my throat is still sort of a little bit sore, and I keep having to clear my throat. So my voice sounds a little bit odd. Now I've got about 100 rings here, so about half of them need to be open, half of them need to be closed. I don't have enough to finish off the chain that I'm doing, but we'll make a good amount of progress on it, and then I'll have to order some more rings in order to complete it later on in the week. So, how are you doing, Springtrap the baby bunny? No, I haven't. I've only... I'll show you. Quite to show you. Not finished it yet. There's quite a bit of time to go, actually. He's actually climbing a rock rather than a tree, but that's as far as we've got at the moment. Most of the major elements are in place now. Currently working on the tail and the feet, the 2 feet. This one in particular wants more work done on it. So and the tail, which needs to wrap a little bit more around the rock, and then once that's majorly done, there's a little bit of clearing out to do around the top of the head here. This bit of the wing membrane wants to, well, it's waste wood here actually, and a little bit around here, around the thumb. Both of these are areas that were left in just to support the wood whilst the rest of the carving went in place. Those then need to be cleared out. Then the head itself gets carved into something approximating the actual shape that I want. And then we're down into the final details, really, which will complete it. Wouldn't like to say how long it's going to take. Probably at least another 8 to 10 hours, I think. But there you go. So you've not missed it completely. It's a fairly lengthy thing, because I'm not that good at carving yet. Okay. Back to doing some of these rings. I need about 160 and I've only got about 100, so I'm a little short on rings. Quite surprising when you're doing this how quickly you go through them. Right, and I'm doing, well, reasonably okay, as I say, recovering from a cold, which I got whilst I was on holiday. Actually 2 of them. So this is the second one, which is affecting my voice more than anything. But doing things like this help take your mind off things, and it's an interesting way to pass the time. Now these, actually they do show up a little bit. They're a pink sort of colour. They're the rings. And they're all nice and shiny. Which of course is a great thing for jewellery. Well, generally speaking, it's a great thing for jewellery. There are some jewellery pieces that look better in matte, but most of the time lots of nice shininess for jewellery. Right, what I should perhaps do is count how many of these I'm doing, but I'm just going by the size of the pile that I'm creating to try and keep an even number of them. If I don't, all it means is I may have to close some rings I've opened or open some that I've closed, but that's not a real problem. That's okay, no problem. You go ahead and enjoy yourself. Don't feel any need to have to stay, you know. It's fine. Thank you for dropping in. Nice to see you again. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. And say hello to your friend. And in the meantime, I shall just continue opening and closing rings. The unfortunate thing about this, I mean, there's nothing particularly onerous about opening and or closing a ring. It's just sat here doing it. It would be a lovely sort of thing to do whilst I was, say, watching another streamer do something, so sort of off camera, open and close rings. The problem is you never know how many you need until you need them, so to speak. Depending on the chain weave that's being used, you may need more open than closed, or vice versa. And so even if I sort of beforehand, or when I first got rings in from the supplier, sat and opened half and closed half, I'd probably spend almost as much time when I come to weave an actual chain undoing what I'd just done. So it seems a little bit unfortunately a little bit pointless. I suppose what I could do is split the stock in half and have half open and half closed, and just make sure I've got enough of both that I don't actually end up having to open closed rings and close open rings. But unfortunately stock costs money, so it's not ideal to have stuff lying around that you're not using. Must be a little bit of oil on these pliers, because the rings are sticking to them very slightly. about halfway through the pile now. So then we're going about 15 minutes. Okay. Interesting. No idea how long this is going to take me. But we're just going to plod on, going through them one at a time. It's a great thing. If you go through them one at a time, all of a sudden you come to the end and you find that they're all gone, and you kind of wonder where they've all done it. A lovely pink colour are these. The individual rings probably don't show up too well, but when they're in a big pile together, it's almost a sort of a lavender pink colour. It's quite a nice colour all round. Yep, there we go. What I'm trying to do in closing these up is close them up as accurately as I can, because these rings are anodized before they're cut, which means that the ends, the cut ends, are shiny silver as opposed to the colour of the ring. And if they're not closed properly, what happens is the silver catches the light and flashes, and you can see, you know, the silver edge stands out much more than it should really. So as long as I close them properly, you can't see the silver ends. If you're hearing that click, that's literally just the two ends of the metal just catching each other as I twist them forwards and back. And actually, all that tells me is that I've closed up the gap. When these rings are cut, they're cut with a saw, and the saw leaves it's a very fine saw, but the saw does leave a slight gap which has to be closed by squeezing the ring together, and that little click is when the two ends just catch each other in passing, which means that the space between them has gone, which is what I'm after. Sometimes I can't always tell, so I'll run my finger just across the join, and if I can feel it, I've not closed it properly. If I can't feel it, then that's good. Okay, only a small pile left. So we'll very shortly be on to the weaving. As I say, this is just a simple 2-in-2 chain. So whilst they're quite large rings, it should be quite a relatively, I'm going to say relatively delicate looking chain. I still find it amazing how these rings, where there's basically no gap present, manage to fasten themselves together in the bag. Now I know there's I actually know how they do it, technically how it's done and how to get them apart, but because that's the subject of quite a few nail puzzles. If anybody's ever interested in these sorts of things, the nail puzzles are generally literally large nails which have been bent and twisted and such that 2 or 3 nails go together into sort of a jumble like this, and the puzzle is to separate the nails, and having separated them, I suppose, put them back together. And the same way in which those puzzles work is the same way in which these things join together, but it's just quite amazing how they manage to do it in a plastic bag. Right, only a few left to go. Then we'll actually make it up into a chain. Seven more to do, and then we can start. So I'm going to start with 2 closed rings anyway, so we'll close these last 2 up. That's one of them. And that's the second one. So now swap pliers. They're a little bit bulky to do this with. Actually, so are these. They're not quite as fine as I'd like, but they're not bad. So we'll start with a normal ring. We'll put 4 to start with, 4 closed rings on to start the chain, and then we'll close it up. It's not quite closed properly. There we go, that's better. That one just seemed to be quite a bit out, shall we say. Now what I've got to do now is feed one of these through all four. This is just the start. Once it gets a bit easier from here on in. This is one of the hardest ones to start with. Sorry, the hardest bit of this is starting it. There we go. So that's the first part of the chain, 2-in-2 chain. Or it would be if I can get hold of. If I can get hold of 2 at the end, there we go. And now we just continue to build up from there. One ring on, put 2 on the end of it to extend the chain, and then close it up. This is actually called speed weaving. It's called speed weaving because the rings are already open and or closed. Which means that it's faster to actually make the weave because of that, rather than opening or closing them individually one at a time whilst I was in the middle of forming the chain. Now, although it's speed weaving, I'm not particularly fast at this. In fact, I'm relatively slow at this, but I enjoy doing it, and I'm sure I'll get faster as I practice more. But it's a fun craft to do. Surprisingly, quite a bit of skill is involved in it. Well, I say surprisingly, that's perhaps is a little bit disingenuous to some extent. It's a craft that looks deceptively simple to do, and potentially anybody can do it. Most people can learn many crafts. But it's some of the more complex weaves, the actual remembering how to do it and what ring goes where, and having the patience to actually get the rings to go through the particular place you're trying to get them, can actually that's where the skill comes into it, as well as developing or working on sort of fairly complex weaves. There are some horrendously complex ones. They look fantastic, but they're a heck of a complex thing to put together when you're trying to feed rings through tiny spaces. There we go. You can start to see the colour now that there's more of them together. A lovely sort of pinky purpley sort of colour. And being a fairly simple 2-in-2 chain, 1 in 1 would be faster to put together, of course, but a 2 in 2 is fairly quick because there's no complex weaving of chain in this. Now this particular chain will be used, is being put together for a particular person, so I just won't be able to finish it today because I don't actually have enough sufficient rings, I don't think. It needs to be 11 inches long in total, does this? I think I've only got enough rings for about 9.5 inches. So it's very much a case of rinse and repeat when you're doing this. Most chainmail, I'll say most because I don't know for certain, but most chainmail seems to have a block of pattern. So like this, for example, is really just 4 rings together create a block, and then that block is just repeated. So yeah, there's 2 rings and 2 rings, that's a block, and then you just repeat that block X number of times. Depending on how long or what pattern you're working to. It is interesting that different crafts have their own phraseology or meanings to words, which sometimes can be challenging because what can apparently be the same word can sometimes mean different things when you're talking about a different craft. For example, if you're talking about a pattern in this, it's not which ring goes where, so to speak, which you might think is what it is. What ring goes where is kind of the weave. It's called the weave. What the pattern is how you might put this together. So for example, if I was to bend this chain like that and join the 2 lengths together, that would be a pattern. So it's how the thing looks overall is the pattern, whereas the weave is what how the rings actually interwork with each other. That one doesn't strike me as being. That looks a bit pale. I'm going to leave that one out for the moment. That was almost as though it hadn't been anodized properly. Now the anodizing can come off these with mechanical action, so you can actually scrape it off. Otherwise it's fairly inert. It's fairly resistant to things like body oils and things like that being, just generally being rubbed or caressed. It's not they're not particularly susceptible to losing the colour, like for example that gold plating might on some people. So it's fairly robust colouring. As I say, it can be scratched off, so you do have to take a little bit of care with with this kind of jewellery. You kind of don't want to throw it in a bag with a hammer, for example, or a saw. Quite why you'd want to do that, I don't know, but that's sort of an illustration. Yeah, so sharp objects like that could actually scratch and bring off the colour. Six packs of Cali. Sorry, I apologise. I didn't actually see you join the stream. That was about 4 minutes ago. I'm sorry about that. Welcome to the studio. I didn't see you, unfortunately, because for some reason Twitch has made your name colour the same as Springtrap, the baby bunny, who was in the stream earlier. So I hadn't noticed the extra line there. This chain is for my wife. She wants one in this pink colour. I'm currently making quite a lot for my wife, but so spending a lot of money at the moment. So this chain wants to, I said earlier, this chain wants to be about 11 inches long, maybe a little bit longer than that. I'm not expecting that I've got enough rings to do that. Calculate, I'm going to be about 40 rings short, but that really depends on whether my calculations are accurate or not. So we'll go take it as far as I can take it, and then we'll complete it later on in the week once I've obtained some more rings. For some reason, yeah, I open and close these rings, and when the open ones especially, you kind of want to grab them with your pliers in a particular direction or a particular angle. And you can guarantee that no matter how careful you've been putting the rings down when you've opened them up, they're always in completely the wrong direction. For you to just simply pick them up and work fairly quickly, you end up having to spin them around. Murphy's Law. There we go. It's going to be interesting to see whether my ability to judge pile sizes is accurate or not, because I intend it to open about half of them and close about half of them. And I didn't count it, I just did it by eye, so it's going to be interesting to see just how accurate my eye has been. At the moment I'm looking fairly close, but just one of those little challenges that you set yourself for no apparent, no particular reason other than it just sounded fun. What do you think of it, Six Packs of Carly? Does it look like a nice chain? Oh, yeah. Really, it's almost the simplest of design of chain going. You could only get simpler than that by using a single ring 1-in-1. The 2-in-2 just bulks it out a little bit, but still keeps the same really open, sort of slightly delicate look. So this is going to be about the 3, 4. This is the 6th chain I've made ever, which is I guess the fact that I want to keep on doing it after having made 6 kind of just shows how much fun I find doing this. I love creating things, and creating things from almost nothing, if you like, and I end up with something like a fancy chain or something like that. So I always find creating things to be both fascinating and enjoyable to do. So right, well, we're not that far to go before I run out of rings. In fact, I might just see how long this is. What have I done there? Oh no, I thought I'd made a mess of that then. That looks about 8 inches to me. Let's have a look. You can't see this, it's off the bottom of the camera, I'm afraid, but I will just... 8. Well, fully stretched, it's 8 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 8.1 inches. Which isn't bad. So I might get to about 9 inches with the rest of the rings that I've got. I'm still learning little tricks to help me do this, and one of them is to like hold the pliers while I put the chain with one set of pliers while I put the other ring through. And despite the fact that I kind of just learned that at the start of this chain, all the way through this chain I keep forgetting that that's what I'm doing, and I end up having to reposition the pliers every time. Let's see if I can remember when I put these 2 links on that that's what I'm intending to do. Okay, so I'm intending to do that. Yeah, I remembered. Put 2 on before I forget. I almost made him turn it into a single chain then. One, 2. Okay, I can actually do one more set of links, and then I'm out of this this particular colour of ring. But I've got 2 closed rings left now. I need to actually open them both. So I didn't do too bad. I was I guess I was too many closed rings, too many open rings. Sorry, too few open rings. God, there's too many 2s in there. And but I was actually able to judge almost 50% open, 50% closed by eye perfectly, which I'm really rather pleased about. Just a little personal challenge, nothing, no reason for it to for me to be bothered either way, but there we go. So that's all I can do for the moment. Let's see how long this has turned out to be. Again, I'm looking at a rule on my desk here, so yeah, it's a smidgen short. It's 1/10 of an inch short, so 9.9 inches is that chain. In a lovely pink colour. If I do that, you can see the colour more. It might help if it focused on me, if I focused it slightly. It's about the best I can do, but it's a lovely colour. Right, so having done that, what time is it now? 20 to 5. So, I don't know, I'm thinking, what can I do next? I can't finish that chain, but that will do for the moment. So, I am thinking about perhaps trying a different pattern. I can do a Byzantine, I can do a box, I can do the simple chain there. I am wondering about maybe trying to do a Persian weave. So, I'm not sure whether I've got big enough rings for this though. what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it and just see. So I have no idea whether this is going to work or not, because I don't know what are good and what are bad. And I'm going to pick a couple of colours. I was kind of thinking about some green and some red. So I'll just take a few out of each colour. These may be a bit small for this. It's usually a fairly chunky weave by the looks of it. Is a Persian weave, but I've never done one before. So we're going to try it and see what happens. If these rings aren't right, what will happen is I either won't be able to physically do the weave because there won't be enough space, or it might fall apart, or all sorts of things. By fall apart, it means it doesn't lay properly. And you don't actually see the pattern of the weave when you do it. So back to opening and closing a few rings. I'm going to do these I'm not going to do a bulk of them, just going to do a few at a time. We'll see. I'm not going to do a full chain either, I don't think. I'm probably going to do about an inch. Or so, just to see what it's like. Assuming I can actually do it in this ring size. If I can't do it in this ring size, we won't be doing very much at all. So this is me experimenting. So we start off with me holding this ring in the other hand, because then I can pick these up with my right hand, which is easier to work with. Start with a 2 in 2. Right, I'm going to need some more red. And I don't know if I want them open or closed. Open, I think. I think everything wants to be open from now on. So I'll open these as I use them. Tip that down a little bit more. Right, so what I'm going to do now is get hold of these in just the right way, apparently. That red ring there doesn't look to have closed properly. That's better. So we sort of do that with it, and then we take a green one, I think, and we pass it through there. Come on. Need hands on swivels. I think we turn this over. This is a little bit fiddly to start with. I'm sure this is going to be like quite a few other weaves though, that once you start doing them, once you build the length of the chain up, it becomes easier. Okay, so that wants to go through there. So take the green one again. Through that ring and then through that ring, but not through that green ring. So over the top of there like that. Now, have I done that right? The answer to that is I don't know. Could be that I'm using too loose a ink. Could be that I have completely messed this up. And then I haven't done it right at all. So I like that there. Okay, no, I haven't done it right. One of these green rings is on the wrong side somehow. Okay, let's take these two green rings off and we'll have another look at that. There's good evening, welcome to the studio this afternoon. I am just playing about with rings. Just trying to see if I can do a different pattern. I've been making a simple 2-in-2 chain this afternoon, which I've run out of links on, so I can't do any more at the moment on that, but so I just thought I'd try and see if I can do myself a Persian weave, just to see what it looks like and how on earth I do it, which is what I'm trying to work out now. So that's backwards. I think that's backwards. We've got those two rings there, and those two are like that. So that goes over the top of there, and that one goes over like that. So that would go over the top of those two. Dear, these are fiddly. I'm guessing larger rings make this a bit easier to do. This is the patience bit, like so. Yeah, like that. Okay. So that would go down that side of that. That would go, yeah. It would help enormously if I knew what I was actually doing. Down there. And that one down there. So now what I want to do That's ooh, blimey! This is I bet this is easy once it's going, but to actually get the thing started is somewhat fiddly, to say the least. Right, that's okay. You guys cannot see what I'm doing here, but I think I've got it how I wanted to get it, like that. So that now means I want another green ring, and I want that ring to go around between there. So I'm going to try and do this downwards so that I can see what I'm trying to do. I want that to go through there. It's off the top of the camera. Let's move the camera down just a little bit and around there. Come on, in you go. Talk to your materials. It helps a lot. Might not do anything for the material, but it helps your sanity. Even though I'm sure people are then thinking you must be insane for talking to inanimate objects. Now then, I think there's two got to go through there. So what I'll now try and do is to put another green ring where I've just put that one. Yes, it is. I mean, it's a sense of achievement when you actually get it as well. I can sort of see the weave now, but it is as I say, once this is started, I'm sure it becomes a lot easier, but just at this moment in time, it certainly doesn't feel like that. You will go through that space there. Have I done it? Not quite, almost. It could well be that it won't do it because these are the wrong ring sizes to do this with. Yeah, I've got the rings crossed. I've crossed the streams. Of course, that's a reference to Ghostbusters, but it also sounds like part of a song title. Oh dear. Good job, this is a sample. I can see exactly where I want this to go. I just can't make it go. I wonder if there's physically enough space. That may well be it. May not be that there's physically enough space for it to go in where I'm trying to put it. Close, but no cigar, as they say. There. And almost. This is like one of those metal puzzles. I've got one in, I just cannot get the other in at the moment. I'd love to be able to just sort of drop the ring through wire-wise and then wrap it up afterwards, but of course you can't do that. Can't unwrap the ring, because otherwise if you try and do that, then of course you'll lose the ring shaped ring. Where's that going to come out, or where has that come out? Oh, there it is. Oh heck, I've done it. There we go. That was a bit fiddly, to say the least. So, red, green, it would be red now. And the red has got to go in. Where's the red got to go? Oh, how does the red go? Oh, have I turned it over? No, I've just done the green. Okay, I'm now got to work out where the red goes. So the red sort of go, oh, the red's easier. No, it's not. It's got to go that way. That goes like that. So the red, does the red just go through there like that? Yep, it does. And then the green's a complex one to put in. So the red just kind of joins the bits together, and the green forms the pattern, or vice versa. Okay, before I start fiddling with that, let me open up a couple more of these green rings, which I'll need to do the next bit. That's not a problem. I don't need to accidentally do anything of the sort, Laser. If you hang on a second. Don't need to bump it, I just need to tip it like that. There you go. Complete with me needing to flatten my hair, because I've been wearing a headband, because it's a bit warm in here. So there you go. Hello. I wear glasses, as you can see, and I can just about see the camera clearly. So now you have a face to go to the name, or the voice, sort of, even though it's kind of a bit of an odd voice at the moment. I'll even take my glasses off, although I can't see the camera clearly when I do that. It's out of focus to me. Don't have a great prescription, but it's enough to be extremely frustrating if you were trying to do these rings without it. Hi there. I shall put this back down. So that was about there, I think. Nice to meet you too as well, Laser. Now then, we're going to try and work out I want those red rings to be on the outside there, and then like that there. Okay. Because the Persian weave I would kind of describe as a herringbone pattern. If I was trying to describe it, that is. Now then, I am actually looking at these and I am thinking that perhaps that this ring size is wrong for this. Because I am looking at the space I've got available to me in there to try and get 2 rings in. And I am kind of, well, you can't see it, but I can. I'm kind of thinking there is absolutely no way I'm going to get 2 green rings in that space. Also, it doesn't help that the red ones are bunched up a little bit. I'm guessing it might be possible, but I am also looking at this and thinking maybe I actually want to give up at this point before I get too frustrated. I could deal with having out. What I've got is an engineering scribe, which is basically a sharp point of metal. I've got one somewhere. Could do with having it out so I can sort of push it through the rings like that, and that would give me open the hole up, so to speak, and then I can see where I'm trying to put the rings. I think this is probably too tight, but we will have a go. Right, that first one is through, I think. It is. So we can close that one. At least what that's done is it's formed the pattern so that it's sort of, I say it's sort of possible to see where things want to go. Yeah, these rings I'm sure are definitely to the wrong size for making this particular pattern. Tell you what, I've managed it, I think. Let's close this ring up and have a look. I have indeed. Whoa. This is my first, I don't know if you can just start to see the herringbone effect, but it's my first ever full Persian weave. 3 sections of it. Let's see if we can do a little bit more. Tell you what, if I was trying to make something for somebody, if this was a commission piece, I'm not that sure I'd enjoy it too much. I am sure it would probably be quite expensive for the amount of time it's taking. I'm wondering whether the time is down to the rings, as I said. Maybe I think these are a little bit too small for it, or whether this weave is just so awkward to do anyway. I'm thinking, won't this make a lovely sort of Christmas theme for a bracelet? I mean, if I could do one this fine, in red and green. And unfortunately this red is has come off slightly, but okay, now that wants to be over the top of that ring there, like so, and that one there like that, and turn it on its side. Come on, rings. And I can just see the space in the middle that I want to put 2 rings through. Again. No, you don't. You're going to go through there. There you go. Oh, bother. And that's that. And I need this on this. Am I working? I'm working on the wrong end. And I bet those of you watching this at the moment are enjoying me sort of half failing with it. I am determined to succeed though. Mind you, I'll probably have to have my teeth removed for that. If you don't understand that reference, it's an old joke. It's an old joke making reference to toothless budgies. Because they succeed. I think I've actually got it. I did. Hey, making it on a roll now. They come along rings. I That's it. That's where I want that one to go for the moment. And this one around here. And then we'll put another section of green ring in. I'm sort of getting the hang of this. But only sort of. No. Too confident, you see. Too confident and I messed up. Once you've got a little bit of the chain done though, it is a little bit easier to hold on to this stuff. No, I don't want you to go through that space there. I want you to go through that space. Not that one. Okay, come out and start again then. No, that's crossed over. Must not cross the streams. Let go. Okay, we'll try that again. You know, I might say I like a challenge, but sometimes I wish it wasn't quite as challenging a challenge. Hey, is that the easy way of doing this? It might be. It might well be. It's working. It is actually working. A nice herringbone pattern on both sides. Oh, one of those rings has slipped places. I'm not sure I can get that out. No, I'd have to yeah. Ah, well, I want it to be right. So we'll undo. Is that enough at this point to no, I can't. Okay. I haven't got that much space on here to be able to sort of take a ring out of the middle of the weave, which is what I would need to do to put this this one back where it's supposed to go. Now then, there might be enough space now to do it, so let's see if I can. Now, I'm going to take the green out. We're not going to be able to do it, so disassemble the weave. Somehow. God blimey, taking it apart's almost as bad as trying to put it back together. Okay, so can I get that red ring out now? I can, right. So, can I put one in its place without having to do everything again? So that would go through there and along the outside, so the outside of that and the outside of that and in there like that. Yes, I can. Okay, that one's gone back together like that. Right, so now we put a couple more red in. So we just lay this one along the side. Of the existing red, that's there, like that. This is what I could actually do with needle nose pliers. Or as I say, that engineering scribe. Rope makers use something similar when they're creating space to put rope. When they're trying to weave rope together to form larger sections and things like that. A bit like a bradawl in woodworking terms. There we go. Up through there, and that's the one of the green rings in. Now let's see if I can do exactly that same thing again. Yay! Hey, I'm finding the easy way of doing that. I thought it was going to be a really hard bit, but there we go. A nice sort of section of full Persian weave chain. I'm going to put another couple on, I think. I'll use these rings that are in front of me, and then we'll just leave that as a sample. So I'm going to put 4 green as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the red ones are relatively easy. They just go along the outside of the existing red rings. I said on the outside, thank you. So we'll fold that back like that for the moment, just to keep it out of the way and keep it where we want it to be. Feed that one through there. Then we can put them in the right position. We can put them in the right position. I know what I want you to do, rings. Now all you've got to do is do what I want you to do. There we go. There are times when you just want to throw this thing anywhere. Nope, that's not the right position. That's not the right position. That's the right position. It's a little bit easier once that one's in place. Because it holds the pattern that you're trying to get. So we come through there. Through that, and then okay, all else fails, pull it out, reposition and try again. whilst I thought I'd got the hang of this, maybe I haven't. Nope, that's got a twist in it. I do not want the twist. I want you not to go through that other green ring, but to come up alongside the green ring. This one is being really fiddly. I wonder if I do something. Do something. Yeah, doing something would probably work quite well at this point. I've got it really tangled up. There we go. Wondering if I need to just open this ring a little bit more. Give myself a little bit more space or something. Yeah, that looks like that's the trick. Make sure the ring is opened enough. There we go, that one. Put these last two red ones in. And then two final green ones, just to finish off the challenge. There we go. So there's one green in place, and this now will be the final green. Because I'm not going to add any more to this length. Yeah, the trick is, looks like, is having the rings open enough, and then they go in place quite easily. There we go. It's a little bit of a stiff chain is this one, so I'm guessing the bigger rings or the smaller gauge would work a lot better, but there we go. We ended to it. Sorry about that. I've been concentrating on the on doing this. I didn't see you. Hello there. Good eve or good afternoon. Welcome to the studio. Just doing a little bit of chainmail. I was working on a chain earlier on. This lovely pink one. It's not finished yet. I've run out of rings to finish it off, so I'll be doing that, finishing that off later on in the week. But I was just trying out a new weave for me, which is this one, which is called a full Persian weave, or a double herringbone, I guess is another nice description for it. So this is probably too smaller set of rings to do it with, because it's quite tight, but it was interesting. It proved a challenge, shall we say. Anyway, guys, thank you for that, for joining me this afternoon. It's about time I had something to drink and some tea. So I'm going to stop for now and say hello. We'll stop for now. It's about 5:30, and I'll get some food and something to drink, and then we'll probably be back on again in about about 2.5 hours, around about 8 p.m. UK time, 1900 hours GMT, where we'll carry on with doing some carving of a dragon that I'm currently working on, and we'll carry on. We'll see how much we get done of that this evening. So thank you all for watching. If anybody feels like following, that certainly will be appreciated, and of course then in theory Twitch will notify you when I go live again. You are also welcome to follow me on Twitter. The details are below the stream window. They'll also be on the end frame, so you can read them from there, but it's at @Zeragonart. And a tweet goes out when I go live, so you'll also know when I'm actually going to be broadcasting. Apart from that, thank you all. Hope to see you again, and have a good afternoon.